Her name is Mensa, and this is her family. She is the matriarch, their leader, and they have been through hell to get here. They faced many dangers along the way, from dehydration and crocodile-infested waters to an army of lion prides specialized in hunting elephants. But they found paradise, the ancient feeding grounds in the flooded swamp. Some never made it through, while others were lucky to survive. Her son Temba will never be the same again. He didn't always look like this. To tell that story, we must start at the very beginning, over 200 kilometers east, back at their home where the adventure began. This is the Chobe National Park, a lush and extensive marshland in the northeast of Botswana in southern Africa. Mensa was born here, just like her mother before her. She was named after her great-grandmother, a strong and fearless leader. In elephant society, the females rule, and it's up to the most experienced to lead. Now Mensa's mother has died, this responsibility falls on her. She is not just the matriarch, she's also a mother. Her youngest daughter, Ella, is nearly 4. And that one over there, playing around in the dirt, is her 6-month-old son, Temba. Like all males, his father didn't stick around to raise him. But Mensa's not alone. The herd is her family. Sisters, cousins, and nieces all help to protect, teach, and look out for each other and their young. They happily share their home with over 100,000 other elephants, the highest concentration in Africa. But they are not the only ones who thrive here. Lions also patrol these lands. These ruthless predators are always on the lookout for an easy target. Mensa must always be on guard. These lions are known to take down large prey like buffalo and even elephants. In the last 4 years, they have killed over 70 elephants, mostly young calves, including one of her sister's sons. As a mother, they are a constant menace. Most of the year, this marshland provides Mensa's family with everything they need. But their home is already starting to transform. It's early August, and over the next few weeks, the dry season will lay waste to this landscape. Without food and water, they'll die if they stay. In times of desperation, the elephants have a contingency plan. A long and treacherous journey to their ancient feeding grounds in the west. They must navigate an invisible map etched in elephant memory, over 200 kilometers across country, through the dead forest, across the Barren Wastelands, and through the gates of the flooded swamp. For only 4 months each year, this swamp transforms into a flooded oasis with enough food and water to feed 1,000 herds. Many have died attempting this journey, but it is their best chance of survival. Even the entrance to these wetlands is guarded by an army of lion prides. Yet it is a risk they must take. If Mensa leaves too late, the last remaining waterholes hidden along route may have already dried up, and they could die of dehydration. The herd faces many dangers on the move, but staying here without food and water is even more dangerous. And with less prey available, the lions will grow more desperate and their attacks will increase. Mensa's best chance of keeping Temba and the young ones alive is to leave their home. They have a long journey ahead, and they start at first light. But that night, the lions attack. The morning sun reveals the aftermath of last night's attack. It's Ella, and she's still alive. In the panic, she became separated from the herd and chased by the lions. Though she managed to escape, she is exhausted and has no more fight left. Mensa can smell the lions nearby. The herd can only keep them at bay for so long. Ella is too weak to even stand. As much as it hurts, there is nothing the herd or her mother can do for her now. One by one, her cousins, aunts, and extended family pay their respects. There is one more goodbye, and it's the hardest. As she eventually slips away, Mensa leaves her daughter's side for the first and last time. As they mourn their loss, the lions emerge from hiding. There is another resident who is not a fan of the lions' presence. In a moment of bravery, the hippo appears to defend the young calf's honor. Yet despite this valiant effort, the lions will be back. In the dry season, tough times lie ahead. If the lions are desperate enough to attack already, they will certainly attack again. It is no longer safe for them here, especially for young Temba. Mensa begins a series of deep rumbles emanating from her throat. These vibrations can emit a low-frequency sound up to 10 kilometers away. This is how she talks to her family. And the message is clear. It's time to go. The first leg of the elephant's journey to the flooded swamps is through the dry grasses and woodlands on the far outskirts of their home. This is their last chance to stock up on any available food. An elephant's vegetarian diet offers little nutrition. So to make up for it, they consume an extraordinary 130 kilograms of food a day. And who needs hands to eat when you have a trunk? Thanks to over 40,000 muscles and tendons, along with 2 finger-like features at the tip, they can delicately pick up a flower or tear a tree straight out of the ground. An elephant's trunk is its most prized possession, and they use it for everything, from smell and touch to, of course, feeding. All this relentless chewing and grinding isn't great for their teeth, so as each tooth falls out, it's replaced by the next in line. But they won't last forever. By the time Mensa's grandmother died at the great old age of 70, she had used up all her teeth, 6 sets of molars. And like her, once Mensa's teeth are all gone, she won't be able to eat. For now, her teeth are fine, so Mensa eats as much as possible. She must keep her strength up. Her son Temba is only 6 months old and too young to eat grass yet. He is completely reliant on her for milk and will continue to suckle until he's at least 2. Mensa's rich, nutritious milk provides him with everything he needs. But to maintain a sufficient supply, she needs to eat a lot. If her milk dries out, he could die. It may not be much, but this precious water will have to do for now. Elephants can drink over 190 liters of water a day, so they'll need to reach a larger waterhole to properly quench their thirst. It's not long before the drying pool is reduced to mud. Mensa is eager to move on. they have many kilometers to cover. Despite their enormous size, elephants are incredibly nimble and sure-footed on all types of terrain, from soft sand and mud to rocky mountains. The trick is that they actually walk on their tiptoes. The bones in their feet are elegantly angled forward with a large pad of fatty tissue under the heel. This spongy shock absorber helps cushion a body weight of up to 7 tons. Their feet have evolved for a lifetime of walking huge distances in search of food and water. And as the matriarch, it is Mensa's responsibility to guide the herd to the last dwindling waterholes, hidden along route, often many kilometers apart. She relies on memory, instinct, and the faint scent of water to navigate a maze of secret pathways scoured into the earth by thousands of elephant feet over hundreds of years. This is her invisible map to the flooded swamp. A mind map that connects waterhole to waterhole across the changing landscapes. If she deviates from the path, they may miss a crucial pit stop. And if she takes too long, the waterholes may have already dried up. As they reach the far edges of their territory, Mensa moves on ahead with some elders to scout for danger. She picks up a familiar scent. Elephants have evolved the longest nose in the world, and with it an incredible sense of smell. As Mensa draws air through her trunk and across the roof of her mouth, she can detect the distant scent of wet earth up to 20 kilometers away. Water is in reach. This could be their last chance to drink freely until they reach the flooded swamp. With so many thirsty mouths to feed, it's hard to contain their excitement. To siphon the cleanest drinking water, they delicately skim the surface, sucking up over 7 liters of water at a time and squirting it into their mouths. Temba, though, isn't having much luck. He is still too young to control his trunk properly. This technique takes time, practice, and patience. Eventually, Temba gives up and tries a more direct approach. Hydrated and refreshed, Mensa leads the herd onto the next leg of the journey. If only they'd known. Mensa remembers this area. The skeletal trees, the eerie silence, and the unshakable feeling that you are being watched. This is the dead forest. From here, food and water is scarce, and once they enter, there's no turning back. The herd must be vigilant. Lions are known to patrol these lands. As a defensive precaution, Mensa and her dominant females take the lead, while Temba and the other young calves stay in the middle, and the other elders cover the flanks. A tinder landscape surrounds them. With limited shade and water, the 40-degree heat is unbearable, especially for the biggest land mammals on the planet. An elephant's skin is nearly an inch thick in places, and with no sweat glands, they are in severe risk of overheating. But luckily for them, they have 2 built-in cooling units. The skin at the back of their ears is incredibly thin and covered in an intricate web of blood vessels. By flapping their ears, they cool the blood and lower their body temperature by as much as 8 degrees. However, Mensa's grandmother also taught her another trick to cool down: a mud treatment. This natural suntan lotion first needs a good mix. Then apply generously to oneself and anyone nearby. This mud pack cools and protects their skin from the scorching heat and irritating parasites. Plus, it's a great chance to put their feet up and have a facial. Or perhaps a massage. As for Temba, boys will be boys. Their jovial mood is short-lived. Mensa suddenly picks up another familiar scent. She must distract them long enough for the rest of the herd to get a good head start. Mensa fears for her son's life. These lions are desperate, and an attack is imminent. As Mensa turns to leave, she spots more lions in the thicket. Camouflaged in this dense forest, the lions have the advantage. Their only chance is to get to open ground, where the herd can regroup and make a stand. The lions start to fan out in an attempt to cut the elephants off. The herd finally breaks the tree line and spill out onto a desolate plain. The lions are hesitant to follow. These are the Barren Wastelands. The toughest part of their journey. There is not much life here, just death. An ominous wind starts to pick up. As an enormous dust storm over 300 meters high races towards the herd. Trapped in the barren wasteland and with the lions on their tail, Mensa and her family have no option but to face the storm head on. The 50 kilometers per hour winds are not her main concern. It's the blinding dust that can disorientate the herd or cover up their path. Elephants have lost their way crossing the barren wastelands, never to be seen again. For safety, Mensa signals the others to form a long line, one elephant behind the other. All they can do now is brace themselves. As the storm hits, the visibility drops to a few feet. In the chaos, Mensa struggles to keep eyes on timber and the right path. The dust storm rages across the landscape, blocking out the light. All her senses are numbed by the brutal onslaught of sand and dust. Finally, the winds begin to subside, and as the haze clears, Mensa catches a glimpse of the way out. Disorientated and still blinded by the sand, Temba is shaken but safe. Not all have been so lucky. As the herd regroups, one youngster, Temba's cousin, is missing. They search desperately for the young calf, but she is nowhere to be seen. Mensa's sister calls out with a rumble so low, it generates a seismic wave through the ground. the youngster can hear it and reply, there is a chance they can still find her. But unfortunately, there is no response. Back in the wasteland, the missing calf is lost and alone. Separated in the storm, she finally manages to pick up the tracks of her mother. But disorientated and confused, she heads off in the wrong direction, back towards the lions. With one last glance out across the wasteland, Mensa's sister rejoins the herd. Water is their only chance of survival now. An elephant can only go without water for up to 3 days, and they haven't had a drop in over 2. Even Mensa's milk is starting to dry up. In desperation, she tries to dig for water. Normally, elephants can reach water up to 1 meter down. She can smell it. It's so close. But in her weakened state, the earth is just too hard to penetrate. She must conserve her energy for timber. Starved and dehydrated, they struggle on. It's not long before they come across a sobering reminder of journeys past. These remains could very well be old relatives who either fell victim to the lions or the heat. Death in the family is always a tragedy, but none more so than those within a tight-knit elephant herd. Elephants remember and grieve loved ones even many years after their death. And if Mensa doesn't find water soon, they too may become just memories. Just a few kilometers further, the desolate plains finally give way to thicker woodland. And with it, the invigorating smell of water. These are the far edges of the flooded swamp. Water has never tasted so good. The water brings with it healing and peace, washing away the woes of their treacherous journey. While the others drink and play, Mensa is already planning the next move. Their journey is not over yet. They've had a drink. Now it's time to feed. Their ancient feeding grounds are hidden on the luscious wooded islands, deep in the heart of the swamps. This final leg of the journey comes with its own risks, and Mensa cannot let her guard down for a second. Before they face the army of lion prides that guard the gates to this island paradise, the herd must first cross the waters patrolled by another lethal predator: crocodiles. This is the flooded swamp. The great Okavango Delta. For only 4 months each year, billions of liters of water from the Angolan highlands spill into this dry dustpan of the Kalahari. The landscape completely transforms into a tropical oasis as the delta swells to 3 times its normal size and attracts wildlife from far and wide, including Mensa and her family. To reach their sacred feeding grounds in the heart of the swamps, they must first navigate a maze of channels. Most crossings are easy for such large animals, but it's not long before they reach one of the deeper, fast-flowing channels. To cross here, they must swim. Temba is nervous, and he has good reason. These waters are home to a deadly predator: crocodiles. A crocodile is little threat to a 4-ton elephant, but a young calf is fair game. These ruthless predators have taken their young before, grabbing onto any available limb or trunk before dragging them underwater. For safety, the herd bunches together to form a barrier. But all this commotion draws the crocodiles closer. Temba kicks as hard as he can to stay afloat, but he is tired and begins to struggle. He finally discovers a use for his little trunk: a snorkel. Mensa's son swims for his life. Finally, they reach the bank, and just in time. The crocodiles may have missed this opportunity, but they will be back. With Temba finally on solid ground, Mensa leads her family deeper into the swamp. They soon join other herds also making their way to the wooded islands. Their ancient feeding grounds are just up ahead. They are so close, but they are also being watched. These lions are the gatekeepers to this paradise. And like their desert cousins, they have mastered the art of taking down elephants. For the last week, they have been watching numerous exhausted herds arrive, waiting for the right target. And now, they have eyes on Mensa. too far and sacrificed too much to stop now. They charge as one. The lions scatter, but only to regroup. They keep their distance. These are experienced hunters. They move around the elephants, camouflaged by the tall grass. Their goal is to cause panic and split up the herd, separating the mothers from the calves. And their tactics work. In the confusion, Mensa loses sight of Temba. She can't find him. In all the noise, she hears one terrified cry. It's him. Where is he? Where is Temba? In desperation, Mensa calls out. But to no avail. Their search carries on into the night. By first light, there is still no sign of him. She keeps retracing her steps, looking for something. A clue as to his whereabouts. But nothing. They have to stay positive. But the longer he's alone, the less chance he has to survive. Their search takes them deeper into the swamp. As they break the tree line, they are met with an incredible sight. These are the ancient feeding grounds. The luscious wooded islands of the flooded swamp. Some herds have already arrived. And over the next few weeks, more will join them in this paradise. Mensa and her family traveled over 200 kilometers to get here, and they're rewarded with a magnificent feast. They can eat to their heart's content, and more. From lush grasses, juicy papyrus roots, and sweet jackalberry trees. This food will sustain them for the next few months, until they must make the long trek home again. They will never be able to drop their guard against the lions for as long as they're here. But it's a risk they must take. It's a bittersweet moment. Everyone is so happy to finally be here. But there's still no sign of Temba. If only he was here to enjoy this with them. Suddenly, a rustle. The lions could easily have caught up. It's Temba. No one knows how he survived, and they don't seem to care. He's alive, but he hasn't escaped unharmed. In the attack, the lions tore off part of his trunk and his tail. Life is going to be tough for him. But he's strong, a survivor. He may never be able to skim water or pick up a branch, but he still looks happy to be alive. He will learn to adapt, because when he's just a teenager, he will leave Mensa's side and roam the lands as a solitary bachelor. Until then, he has his family to look out for him. And that's their story. It's been 2 months of living in the luxury of the swamps. And since the attack, Temba's trunk is healing up nicely. He's adapting well to his injury. Soon these waters and the flooded swamp will disappear back into the earth. And it will be time for the elephants to move once again. Far to the east, back towards their home, she can smell the rains. The dry season is finally over, and it is time for the herd to return. The lions have left the flooded swamp to track the buffalo further north and are no longer a threat. The elephant's path is clear. Mensa calls out to her family, and as one, they begin the long road home. It is up to her to lead them. She is the matriarch.